Alright, so what is going on, guys? As you can tell by the title of the video, this is going to be December 23rd's market review slash recap. Okay, basically where I'll be going in to price action from 6 a.m. EST to 12 o'clock a.m. Um, and I'll basically reviewing that piece of price action each and every day until I come back to live trade again. Okay, so looking on NQ, let's go ahead and take a look over here at NQ's weekly chart. NQ's weekly chart is extremely bullish. Notice last week we wicked into the lower quadrant of this price range here, while also the candle bodies respecting this imbalance here at the lower quadrant of the range here. Okay, so having this rejection here leads me to believe that we are extremely bullish because price fails to even close inside of this gap on the weekly. Okay, drop into our daily chart here. On our daily chart, notice in Q, as price last Friday dipped into that weekly imbalance around the lower quadrant, price also wigged into this daily imbalance here, which is also a BPR right here. Okay, so notice these are the levels price has traded it away from and back towards this larger fair value gap here, which is bearish. Okay, so obviously going into today, December 23rd, we should be extremely bullish. The daily candle we can see opens up here, opens low, right? What does it retest here on the daily? We have a daily change in state delivery order block here. Okay, the daily candle opens up, makes it low inside of that order block level. So we're going to mark this out as daily order block. We can actually move this and make it one of these lines here. Cancel. We're going to make this red. We're going to label this daily order block. Give it to the right, top, middle, daily order block. Okay, so notice the daily candle opens low, rejects off of this daily order block here. Okay, so we're still bullish. We go into our 1 hour chart. If we're looking at our 1 hour chart, we can get rid of this bearish SIBI here. If we get into our 1 hour chart, we're also going to get rid of the PD arrays from the previous week. Do not need these. 1 hour here, we can see we have a bullish PD array that rests right below that daily order block. Okay, notice higher time frame alignment here is we are bullish because we should be filling some of the imbalances from the previous week, especially as we had closed above this intermediate high here on last Friday. Price should now continue higher into this bearish PD right here. Okay, so notice throughout the week, this is going to be our target. Okay, ultimately throughout the rest of the week, we want to see the middle quadrant, maybe even the upper quadrant of this large 1 hour for value gap here, being 22,189 even. Okay, we want to see that be the price level we retrace into this week. Okay, so just keep your eyes on 22,189. Whenever we hit that level this week, don't say I didn't say it. Okay, notice we are steadily aligning our time frames. Okay, so now we are on, or now we're going to drop down into our 15-minute chart. Notice I teach all of my students, if we have not found an entry by 9:40 or 9:25 a.m., then we wait until after 9:45 to take a trade. Okay, so what do we see here? Okay, on our 15-minute chart, upon the opening at 9:30, we notice we are in a downtrend. Price at 9:30 wakes up into this high. We failed to close above this high here, so notice we are still bearish. So if we are bearish on the 15-minute order flow is currently bearish, we wait for a change in structure. Okay, so notice we'll mark out Friday's low here. Okay, that's going to be key sell side liquidity. Okay, notice the sell side liquidity over here rests right above that daily order block. Sorry about that. And that bullish for value gap here. Okay, now more specifically, if we trade the 1 minute chart, we also want to remember we want to incorporate a 15-minute PD array. We have a perfect 15-minute bullish PD array right here, and we'll annotate the middle line, or actually instead of solely annotating the middle line, we'll annotate all of the quadrants of this 15-minute fair value gap. So we'll do so here. Okay, so now we'll drop into our 1 minute chart, and we'll see here exactly how price trades. Okay, so we'll take a vertical line tool. We're going to mark out 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Okay, notice if we are just coming to our charts around 6 a.m., we can see price is in a current downtrend. Price after 6 a.m. retraces higher, continues to go lower. Notice there's no valid trade until after 9:45 a.m. here. Okay, notice where we are at in price. We have initial buy side liquidity here. What makes this initial buy side liquidity? Okay, what makes this initial buy side liquidity? This is the liquidity induced at the time of 9:30. Okay, so 9:30 has a specific function every day within the markets, and that function can vary between 3 different things on a day-to-day basis. Okay, today 9:30 opens up and we accumulate, which engineers both lows and highs on both sides of a range. Okay, then upon 9:45, price displaces lower. Okay, now upon the opening at 10 a.m., we then open, we create a low. Look at how the candle bodies respect the upper quadrant of that bullish 15-minute fair value gap. That is also inside of the higher time frame bullish fair value gap. Okay, we just made a trading quality trade setups that included entry checklists. So if you have not watched that video, please go back and watch that quality trade setups video explained. Okay, but notice price comes inside of overlapping bullish PD arrays, specifically respecting this 15-minute PD array at the upper quadrant after 10 a.m. or after 9:45, really. So now we can look to enter. Okay, notice a part of that entry checklist we have right here, a SIBI to the left that gets displaced through by a BISI on the right. Okay, this is our true market structure shift pattern here. Notice you could enter at this fair value gap here. This is institutional order flow entry drill. Okay, entries can be at the top part of the fair value gap. Stops should be below the low here, or below the candle body, or below the imbalance in general. If it is the true institutional order flow entry drill, price will not retrace. Price will not retrace into the lower quadrant of the institutional order entry drill for value. So if we mark this out here, we can see this is a perfect institutional order flow entry drill order block, or for value gap, excuse me. Price, if we zoom in, price only trades into the upper quadrant of the gap, and it fails to even trade into the 25%. This is key when spotting the institutional order flow entry drill. This fair value gap specifically should remain open. Okay, so what do I mean by it should remain open? We should not see price retrace into the 50% of this fair value gap. Okay, wicks into the upper quadrant, or maybe even the 25%. Okay, that upper portion of the fair value gap here, wicks into here are fine, but usually institutional order flow entry drills provide great support, and we should not see price close anywhere near or below the 50% of this fair value gap here. Okay, so that's just something to note. Going back in here, we can see we have initial buy side liquidity. This is obviously what we are going to target, as well as then we have some relative equal highs up here, smooth edges. That's going to be our buy side liquidity that we're targeting. And you can see here, price shortly after 1 o'clock trades right into that buy side liquidity. Okay, so remember, entry here, targeting buy side liquidity, stop loss below this low here, below this low here, or below the imbalance, all work out as price accumulates before then producing the second stage expansion, before then accumulating again, then providing that last stage of expansion. Okay, and you can see how usually on Mondays like this, okay, Mondays it's typically better to always trade the silver bullet, which is anything after 10 a.m. Notice there's usually delayed expansion on Mondays. Okay, so making sure you're aligned with the higher time frames is always going to be key. Making sure that you are truly aligning yourself, from top to bottom, okay, with order flow and higher time frame directional bias. Okay, all of these things you want to include in your trading checklist or setup. Okay. But this would have been an A+ day. Note setup is within here. Okay. After 9:45, what we talked about earlier, that's going to be the key here. So this is exactly how I would have framed today. This is specifically what I would have looked at if I wanted to trade today, or if I were live trading. This is how I would have read price. And yeah, so hopefully you guys have learned something from this video. Hopefully you took away something from this video, and I can help you align yourself with the markets better and kind of give you a forecast and projection on how you should trade these markets. Okay, so ultimately today this was an A+. A day like today is generally an A+. This is a Monday, always usually a great day to make some money, because sometimes Mondays for the most part provide for some pretty straightforward, textbook setups. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below this video. Like I said in previous videos, in the description, the first link is the free Discord, where you can gain access to the course plus private mentorship access. Okay, gives you lifetime mentorship access, plus my newest course and 4 other courses made within the 2 years, the 2 previous years. Okay, so if you want those, first link in the description of this video, and peace.